Hey guys, and welcome to one of the most insanely close games I have ever seen. I'm a Rubber Duck of War, but today we're going to be showcasing this battle between the mighty Warriors of Chaos led by Captain Morgan up against Merfolurf and his Wood Elf forces. I must admit, I do love the name Merfolurf there, and he's got quite an interesting build. Before we delve into the Wood Elves, however, and one of my favourite lords for them, let's check out this beautiful Chaos army. Chaos getting a lot of love in recent time, which does beg the question, how come Norsca don't get so much love? Only time will tell. Maybe I'll do a video on that in the future. But for the forces of the Warriors of Chaos, we have Chaos Marauders dotted all the way along the front line. They're looking particularly vicious and angry today. And in the secondary battle line, we have that better mid-tier infantry coming in the form of Chaos Warriors, as well as some Chosen in the center alongside a Mirror Guard. I love to see these elite troops in the center. The Mirror Guard in particular not only look badass, but really are quite naughty with those swords, cleaving their way through enemy formations like it was nothing. Likewise, Chosen as well. Always fantastic to see how much value they will be getting in a battle today. Of course, we actually have double Chosen. That's really cool here in the center pocket. And of course, it's not a Chaos build without a bit of skirmish cavalry. Just the two today, though, in the form of Marauder Horsemasters and double Manticore up in the sky. Now, Captain Morgan, clearly a man of class and culture, coming in with the most duck-like lord in the game, the mighty Ever Watcher. Now, why is he the most duck-like lord in the game? Probably because he's a power of pure chaotic energy, and that is what most ducks are. He's coming in with Plague of Rust today and Final Transmutation, probably the two most effective spells in multiplayer from that lore of magic, and he is bounding towards the battlefield. Looks like someone's quite excited to get their hands on Warhammer 3 and start trying out those demons. Now, across the battlefield is the mighty Wood Elf Legions. We have 4 units of Dryads holding it down in the front, backed up by a bucket ton of Glade Guard of Starfire Shaft support. Looks like we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 that are extra armor piercing, certainly going to help against the heavily armored infantry that the Warriors of Chaos can indeed field. We have some Eternal Guard holding down the flanks, as well as 1 in that central pocket just to help protect the archers where possible, and double Great Stag Knights. Great Stag Knights, I say this every single time I see them, look phenomenal. They are so regal and badass, and once they start getting in the middle of the enemy battle lines, they can rip and tear the heart out of any well-placed battle line. We do, of course, have a Spell Singer of Life coming in with Regrowth, supporting the mighty Durfu today. So going for the double caster, but Durfu is far more than just your regular caster. He is the last End marching to war. He has Amber Spear as well as the Manticore Summon and the Sword of Dave. He is very, very angry that the Warriors of Chaos have awoken him from his slumber, and he shall march out to meet them. Now, this is going to be some really lovely tactics right off the rip from the Wood Elves. Cycle charging the Great Stag Knights onto the Marauders, just eviscerating them with one charge. Look how many Marauders go down that one stack, getting really eager and going right into the enemy battle line and trotting back to safety. We have a load of bow support as well, covering the Great Stag's retreat, and 1 unit of Marauders is already running for their lives, so the others are taking considerable damage from the cycle charging of the Stags. Love to see this in the early game, really just ripping out that front line from the Warriors of Chaos. But the Great Duck is going to be charging in, looking to intercept the Great Stags. Their power really does come from their charge. They do not want to get charged by any nasty demons. Now, Eternal God are going to try to move in to intercept the Everwatcher, who's already disrupting the back line quite heavily here. I'm going to be popping in with a bit of a debuff. We have a Final Transmutation. It's only going to catch the Spell Singer and the Glade Guard, though. That is about it. Durfu was just on the edge of it. Now, in the main fight, Great Stag Knight's starting to get bogged down by the Chosen, who are using those axes to cleave both rider and mount apart. Manticore are going to swoop in and push back those Great Stags, who are going to receive a regrowth for their troubles to try to heal up. The Glade Guard are in a swift retreat at the moment on that far flank. Over on this side, the Dryad's being butchered by Chaos Warriors, and it seems like the Mirror Guard are shutting down the Eternal Guard. That should hopefully allow the Everwatcher a bit more breathing space in that back line to shut down the Archer core. The Marauder Horsemasters not really been able to find good engagements yet. They're stuck behind the Chaos battle line, using javelins on Dryads and other not very cost-effective targets so far. The Everwatcher is going to be bounding across the battlefield, just helping to finish off some Dryads, and once again freeing up Chaos Warriors so they can push into the back line. Speaking of the back line, the Wood Elves are in all kinds of trouble here as the Chaos Pharaoh Manticores are ripping apart Glade Guard. 2 units are being swamped at the moment. The Great Stags are slaughtering one of the Manticores with the support of some Glade Guard who have retreated to high ground there, so they got a bit of better far and arc to rain shots down upon the Manticores. The Marauder Horsemasters are now starting to focus down Eternal God in the center. The mighty Durfu just stands so tall and proud amongst the Warriors of Chaos, whipping his sword back and forth. The mighty Sword of Daith sundering that armor of the Chaos Warriors and melting it to their flesh, and he laughs and roars at the same time. The sort of flank going far better for the Warriors of Chaos, though. Great Stags are starting to get a little bit dwindly as far as HP is concerned, as more Chosen and Marauders start pushing through. The Mirror Guard as well, up to an impressive 27 kills. Are really starting to dispatch the Eternal Guard. So a big victory on the left-hand side for the Warriors of Chaos. Durfu shall be marching himself over there to try to rectify that situation. Likewise, we're going to get yet another regrowth go down on the Great Stag Knights. You'd have expected the regrowths to go down on Durfu, but the Great Stags have been doing such a fantastic job. It looks like that Winds of Magic's going to get poured into them instead, as once again they move in to try to intercept the Chosen and Chaos Marauders. On the far side, though, the Everwatcher's doing a fantastic job, really trying to hamper the Great Stags where possible and take away that mobility from the Wood Elf forces. Eternal Guard will be moving in the distance. Chaos Pharaoh Manticore going to finish up some Dryads in the distance, and this is a far nastier final transmutation than the one we saw earlier, catching 3 units of Glade Guard. If the Everwatcher now pushes back here, that terror may start to set in. We can see a load of Elves running for their lives. Speaking of running for their lives, Chaos Marauders are currently fleeing the battlefield, but apart from that, the more elite units are sticking out for the Warriors of Chaos, and now the Horsemasters have pushed in to a far more dangerous situation. They can start peppering down Durfu, or perhaps the Great Stags, who lower their antlers and bound gloriously into the enemy battle lines, sending the enemy flying and reeling in all directions. Unfortunately, it's not enough to save those Eternal Guard, who are going to be continuing to flee, and the Spellslinger life is actually getting really dangerously low, which is quite problematic. We've seen a lot of regrowths being used. No Manticore summons yet on the field. They can be quite clutch in the latter stages of the battle. If they have the Winds of Magic, regrowth is a rather expensive option to bring alongside the Manticore summon. Horsemasters have been basically using their ammunition up on the enemy infantry, which, hey, is still getting them kills, even if it's not the most cost-effective way to use them. The Everwatcher is well and truly in the back line. Glade Guard, again, just destroyed in great numbers now, though the Great Stag Knights have managed to pull back, surround the big beastie, and try to pin it in place. Maybe even allowing Durfu to come over here and help slap up the big bird. Sword of Daith goes down. That's going to be sundering the armor by 30, as well as doing some decent amount of damage to the Chosen and Chaos Warriors here. We do get a cheeky Plague of Rust go down on Durfu, hoping that the infantry can catch him. At this point, the Wood Elves just want to continue to move with Durfu. Just don't let him get involved in a fight whilst that debuff is on, because it does take his armor down to an okay 50 rather than being rather impressive. The big bird is now engaged with Durfu in hand-to-hand combat. Arcane Conduit going down to try to boost him up. We do get another regrowth, and it's going to go down on those Great Stag Knights once again, who are desperately trying to save the Glade Guard. They're doing a fantastic job beating back the Horsemasters and trying to pin the Chaos Warriors in place, but the Glade Guard needs to be a little bit swifter in their escape, get a little bit of momentum behind them. The Chaos Pharaoh Manticore is being kited fantastically by the ground archers. Shots raining in from all sides, and the Great Stags have been everywhere today. They're also going to come back to shut down the Manticore. Bounce power is certainly heavily in favor of the Wood Elves at the moment, but they are having a bit of a problem with Durfu. He's starting to get bogged down by Chosen Marauders, and now the Javelins are finally shooting at the perfect target. Up to 11 kills so far, but Durfu's health has dropped considerably in the last few moments, down to 4,600, which, hey, is still pretty good, but not quite as healthy as he was looking a little while ago. Chaos Pharaoh Manticore is being forced off the field at the moment, going to be again driven away. It should be able to return, though, you would think. Glade Guard have used up considerable amounts of their ammunition, but now Chaos Warriors are eventually going to be getting on top of them, because the Great Stag Knights are getting dragged down here. We still have this unit on the left-hand side, very near its healing cap at the moment, and it is currently busy distracting one unit of Chosen as the Mirror Guard continue their pursuit of the mighty tree. It's quite cold out at night trying to camp. They need some firewood, and they see the perfect target to cleave apart. Durfu is dropping quicker and quicker the longer this battle goes on now. Chaos Warriors have managed to shatter some Eternal Guard on this flank. More Glade Guard are being shut down by Chosen, and the Everwatcher is being kept really far back at the moment, just cleaning up some of these more broken and weakened Wood Elf troops, and now it can come back into the main fight, drop those debuffs, and use that mobility, never to really have to engage with Durfu. Imagine if we get an Overcast final transmutation down here right now. It would take out the Spellslinger life, do massive damage to Durfu, as well as catching Great Stags. It does look like the Great Stags are once again going to be receiving the regrowth here going down on them, and that should take them up pretty much to their healing cap. Now, I think we actually might be getting a final transmutation. Am I some kind of dark prophet? Let's see. So we do get the Sword of Death go down. Likewise, a final transmutation. Not an overcast one, though. It should still be enough to kill the Spellslinger alive. What a fantastic cast. Catching out Great Stag Knights. The Spellslinger plus Durfu doing some pretty decent work. And you can see those Great Stags have now hit their healing cap. Balance power still slightly well favored, but not by too much anymore. And the Chosen, as well as these Mirror Guard, have done such a fantastic job hounding Durfu all day long and start slowly picking apart at the thick bark, although he just plant his sword in the ground there to the screams of dying men and demons. And oh, he just picked up someone with his foot and like crushed them and slammed them back down. Durfu's angry and he's meaning business today. There he goes once again, lifting up someone and slamming down into the ground. The Everwatcher may be forced into hand-to-hand combat, not something he'll be expecting before the start of the battle. Now the Glade Guard are barely clinging on. The Great Stag Knights, once again, just fantastic control of them all day long by the Wood Elf player, is attempting to save the Glade Guard, though I don't think it's going to be enough this time. The noose is tightening. We have Chosen and Chaos Warriors pushing upon them. Glade Guard are continuing to try to flee back in all directions, but they really are at the edge of the board now. There is nowhere left to run. You can run, but you cannot hide from the forces of the Chaos, and the Great Stags are actually going to receive a charge, which is a little bit nasty coming in now from the Chosen. That may well be the end of them, but Durfu's still going to be a big problem. You can see him just standing as a bulking tower in the middle of the Chaos lines. He breaks off some of the Chosen, and the Mirror Guard probably aren't going to be too far behind them. Only 18 models left fighting there. They do manage to stabilize their morale a little bit as Durfu decides to pull back and try to support the Great Stags and Glade Guard elsewhere. Glade Guard going to be moving forward. They can actually move and shoot, so they will loose a few arrows into the Everwatcher, but oh my god, those big wings flap down and Glade Guard gets sent sprawling in all directions. Even the mighty Great Stag Knights don't want to risk charging in to try to save them, though it looks like they may dare to pin in the Everwatcher and allow Durfu to catch up, but instead they go for that counter charge on the Horsemasters. Not a bad idea. Just get the Horsemasters off the field as quickly as possible, and the balance of power is now even. There is so many more Warriors of Chaos left on the field than the Wood Elves, who simply have Durfu and the lone unit of Great Stags, who are up to 118 kills so far. Looks like they might be going for the kill on the Everwatcher, but fantastic play by the Warriors of Chaos player, always ensuring he has at least one unit nearby to support the Everwatcher, so he can't be sniped easily. But I mean, the Great Stags are really giving it a good go. Oh my god, he had like 500 HP and they just dragged that out of him so quickly, and down the Everwatcher goes. That could be a disaster for the Warriors of Chaos, though they still have 57 Chaos Warriors in the center, which is certainly no joke. Durfu, though, 1.7k HP, still standing firm at the moment. Great Stag Knights are going to be rear charging as escorting the Mirror God off the battlefield, which is 100% a good idea. They definitely want to get in here and cycle charge the Chaos Warriors as well, just try to break them up and ensure you can use that terror from Durfu, and that's just what they do. Once more back into the fray. Durfu, a big slice from the Sword of Death, does cleave many a Chaos Warrior, and they are terrified, running to try to save their own skins rather than fighting for the mighty Chaos Gods. 32 Chosen, well, I stand corrected, Mr. Durfu. 30 Chosen after that big swing are trying to surround Durfu and drag him down, and he is looking pretty beat up and worse for wear. You can see his morale is starting to falter as well. The Great Stags in the distance are breaking off Chaos Warriors, but it looks like the Mirror God were able to come back, and that's pretty huge. They have immune to psychology, so if they can get engaged with Durfu, they're a lot less likely to run away, but it does seem like they don't have the stomach for a fight right now, having so few models left. So the Great Stags are starting to bounce once again towards the main fight, where Durfu is holding the line desperately, down to just 700 HP right now, and it is dropping fast, but we get the terror out going down on the Chosen. We may get a chain route here. The Chaos Warriors are barely clinging on, but likewise Durfu is starting to break down to just 2 leadership. Will the mighty tree fall? Will it be enough? Because the Great Stags are still causing havoc amongst the Warriors of Chaos battle line, and Durfu, the mighty, the powerhouse of the battle so far, is going to break, but the Great Stags shall charge forward, trying to save their Liege Lord, come crumping in onto the Chaos Warriors. More Chosen starting to flood in as well. The Great Stag Knights down to just 7 models and 400 HP. That is not much whatsoever, particularly with the axes of the Chosen so nearby, and there's 22 of them in here. Great Stags wavering, barely clinging on. It does look like Durfu, though, is going to be returned to the battlefield with just 600 HP. The Great Stags trying their best, fighting to the last elf, but they do eventually rout here. Likewise, the Chaos Warriors will receive a big fat Amber Spear. The late game Amber Spear going through the last 2 units of the Warriors of Chaos, and that's going to be enough to break both of them and force army losses. The Wood Elves win with a 600 HP Durfu left standing, and that is it. As you can see, the Great Stags are just 2 escaping back to Athaloran to tell the tale of the mighty Durfu. A valiant defeat indeed. What a crazy game. Very well played to Cat Morgan, very well played to Murthalurth as well. What a beautiful game between the Chaos and the Wood Elves. That was just, oh, that has blown me away. That was a really awesome game there. Just, I didn't think the Wood Elves had enough in them with Durfu left. When Durfu broke, that's GG's, that's game over. There's no way the Great Stag Knights can defeat both these infantry, but they didn't need to. They held them down long enough for Durfu to rally and release a big battle cry, so much that it shook the remaining Warriors of Chaos to flee from the battlefield. The Big Duck doing an impressive performance with 112 kills and just shy of 2,000 damage value, but Durfu is the dominant monster on the battlefield, excelling in the kills and damage value over his Everwatcher counterpart. 151 kills, 2,129 damage value. What a beast. And I will delve into the kills, damage dealt, damage value of all of these units in just a second. Particularly interested to see how the Great Stag Knights performed, but before we get there, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a big fat juicy thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. It is a well-known fact that 1,510% of people who watch my videos do not subscribe, so don't be one of them. Make sure to subscribe there and comment down below what you thought of the battle. All 3 of these things massively help out the channel. Likewise, bucket ton of links in the description: Twitch, Patreon, Discord, all that juicy stuff. Discord is where you can get involved in tournaments, live streams, and events that I host, and likewise where you can submit replays to be cast on the channel, just like Cat Morgan did here today. And I must tell you, the next couple of replays are all very juicy ones. So let's go back into the battle. Let's actually start with the Wood Elves, because I can't wait any longer. How did the Great Stag Knights perform? Well, one unit, only 25 kills. This one got taken out of the game a little bit early on. 1,715 damage value is very impressive on them, but the other unit of 158 kills, 2,761 damage value is absolutely absurd. 18k damage dealt. They performed fantastic today. The cycle charge, and this was a real good masterclass on how to use Great Stag Knights. Constantly bounced around the battlefield, never sticking in an engagement too long, and you can see the end result there. They end up winning them the game. Nice play as well with the Glade Guard. They actually managed to use the majority of their ammunition despite some really good kind of aggressive pressure coming at them from the Chaos. We have 38, 55, 45, and 25 kills with 630, 865, 725, and 749 damage value. As for the Dryads, 6, 18, 78, and 39 kills, getting in the very low hundreds, unfortunately, for damage value, simply being outclassed by the Warriors of Chaos. Likewise, a similar situation for the Eternal Guard. Spellslinger, of course, didn't get that much damage value, but those regrowths are pretty pivotal on those Wild Riders, or I should say Great Stag Knights, to get them as good as they did in the battle. We've already been over Durfu, but again, 2,129 damage value. What a powerhouse. As for Cat Morgan, Chaos Ferromanticores, 518 and 475 damage value, 48 and 8 kills. Not great for Manticores, it must be said, but hey, Manticores are one of those units which either get you a load of value or not too much. Often it depends how they rampage. As for the Horse Master, they did spend the majority of the early game not really going to get on top of those key targets, but the longer the game went on, the better they performed, with 19 and 64 kills, 900 and 960 damage value. The Chosen just shy of 2k value with 44 kills. The other unit, 1,300 damage value and 83. Chosen, one of those elite infantry units, and elite infantry in the current meta isn't super popular, but Chosen always seem to get so much good value. I really do love seeing them in action. The Mirror Guard, 1,083 value with 64 kills. As for the mid-tier infantry, 110 on this unit of Chaos Warriors with 1.4k damage value. That is really hitting above their weight. The other two units, a bit more respectable, with 46 kills and 32, 480 and 560 value. The Chaos Marauders was getting absolutely shattered early on. Really low damage value, pretty low kills. The Great Stags certainly saw them off. The Everwatcher performing pretty damn decent though. 112 kills, 1,900 damage value, trying to make all of Duck kind proud there. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.